Hi, this is Jerry McPherson. I'm a session player here in Nashville, Tennessee, and I've just completed building a new pedal board that I use in the studio. It's centered around the GigRig G2 switcher, an amazing switcher, tons of features. You can go to the Facebook page that GigRig has, and they've got a lot of really good videos on features of it, how to operate it, put it together. But what I want to specifically talk about is how I'm using it with MIDI and with patch changes and presets. So let's take a look. All right, here's the new board. It looks big, and that's because it is big, but you do have to have a lot of options when you go into the studio. I went ahead and did soldered ends on it, built it out myself. I've always liked soldering, and I've always liked putting together boards like this, and the advantage is that I know how to possibly fix it in case something breaks while I'm at work. All right, here's a view underneath. I built it on a pedal train grande. I love pedal train boards. I laid the wiring out to where I could see where the flow was going, and maybe it would make it easier to service later. I am powering it by the GigRig generator and also a power train 1250. The generator would have probably handled it all, but I added the power train just in case. Here's how I have my G2 laid out for session work. I need presets. I don't need a lot of presets, but I do need them. And so I've designated these first 4 buttons for 4 presets. So with these stomp box mode buttons, I can add things in. Here's the Super Ego pedal. Kick in the memory man, take stuff out. It's just a very flexible, fast system for getting good sounds quickly. Okay, so you can see the Mobius here, the H9, and the timeline. I have all those being MIDI switched right now. And when I first started sending preset changes to everything, it's like, oh boy. You can see everything's changing. And it ended up kind of making a moving target out of my sounds. I mean, So I just ended up unhooking the MIDI cable from the G2. I had already ordered the new chipset and installed it just in case, and it was an easy install. You don't have to undo any cables off the back, which I thought I was going to have to do. And it gave you more banks, which I wasn't using any banks. It gave you more MIDI capabilities, and I'd unplug the MIDI. So I ended up looking through the manual, reading the manual, if you can believe that, and discovered some cool things as far as how to use MIDI and banks. First thing was that you could turn MIDI off of a switch. So I ended up unprogramming all of Bank 1's MIDI switches. So now I could safely plug the MIDI cable back up, and ended up coming up with a really interesting way of grabbing presets for individual effects. Let me show you this. Okay, so we're back to Bank 1. And this is where I normally stay when I'm doing session stuff. You'll notice that there's no patch changes happening, and that's because after reading the manual, which I highly suggest, and installing the new software, I disabled any patch changes that are being sent out here. And by the way, you don't ever change patch numbers. They're set in the G2, and they correspond to the preset that you're on. So if you're on preset 4, it's sending out a patch change 4. But I wanted to make use of these upper banks, and here's what I figured out, that I can use these upper banks to store my favorite presets. I can recall them, bring them back down to my studio bank where they won't be disturbed or changed because I've disabled MIDI on this bank. So I'm going to go up to this bank, and by the way, this says timeline here on it. It's meant to be the stomp box mode button to instantly access that, but it makes double duty because it's the same bank that I would hit to go to the timeline presets. Let me just show you. I hit my bank manager or engage, doesn't matter, they both flash. Hit my timeline button, and I've laid that out now to where here's all my favorite timeline presets. They're good starters, basically, for sounds. Okay, you'll notice these guys aren't changing. So, Bucket Brigade, an analog delay. That was an eighth note. This is a dotted eighth. Here's quarter notes. Digital delay, eighth notes. Dotted eighths. Quarter notes. Dual delay. Slap. Even more slap. So I can quickly just go up and say, well, I need an analog delay, eighth notes. I go hit the bank switch. I go back down to my main guy, my main number one bank. And there it is. And I can switch around on here and notice that it's not disappearing. That preset is staying put. Let's go up to the H9. And you'll see that now the H9 is responding to the way I've had it mapped out. And, oh, thirds. That's cool, the shimmer. Let's go up to the Mobius. I've got really good Mobius presets up here, kind of starting points. There's a vibrato slow, fast, rotary, a drum rotary, phaser, flanger, extreme flanging, tremolo, let's go back to my main bank. So now I've got the delay that I called up, I've got the shimmer, I've got the Mobius, and here's all three. Okay, let's go back up. Let's go to the timeline and get some slap. Go up to the H9. I don't know, grab some ambience. Yep. Get some Mobius tremolo. I'm going to go back down to bank 1, preset 4, which I've laid out for all three of those effects to be on. Little distortion. All right, you get the idea. You can just instantly go up and grab all these little favorite presets, bring them down to your normal bank, and go back up and grab something that would work better for the song. It's just such a great, fast way to work, and you have a lot of banks at your disposal now to where you can store your favorite presets. So I went from using no banks and no presets to trying to use every bank that was on the board. There's 8 of them, and mapping those out amongst the different pedals. So there's my pedal board, there's my setup, and that's how I'm using the GigRig G2. I hope it's been a help to you. And check out the rest of the videos on the GigRig Facebook page. They've got a lot of great info on them. Thanks.